Hello, everybody. I'm live on Facebook. How's everybody doing? So I'm just prepping. It's my first go live on YouTube as well. If you don't know my YouTube channel, it's Teany Hidalgo. Hello, Steph. Yes. Hello, everybody.
Hey, hon.
Hey!
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? So let me just set up
Great.
the YouTube one. Ah, okay. Apparently it takes 24 hours to activate.
And not
Go
even...
figs. Huh? It's
I
okay.
can't share right away.
It's okay. It's all right. No worries. I always post it on YouTube anyway later, so we're all good. We're all good. No disasters today.
Awesome. I was like, how did you connect this to YouTube? How does that even work?
Oh no.
Because even going live on YouTube is hard.
Yeah, no, you just go live at the same time. So I have my computer and my phone.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and share my tribe.
All right.
Then,
hey, everybody. Welcome. So just to give an intro for now, until we get ourselves organized and more people join, this is Teany Hidalgo from Sanese Wellness Academy with your Purpose with Passion series, encouraging you to discover your passions because they will lead to your purpose. And today I have a guest. Steph, get in the camera.
I'm here.
I have Stef
Sorry,
Ventura. No worries. And I'm going to tell you all about her in a few. But in the meantime, we're just getting ourselves a little bit organized. And I just want to show you guys. Yeah. Were you going to say something?
No. I'm like really trying. I'm listening. I'm right here.
Oh, okay.
Right here. I'm just...
No worries. All right. So you guys know I do this every Thursday. And I'm so excited because last week I took a break. It was a really busy week. So, you know, everyone needs a break sometimes. Yeah.
It can be doing these interviews. I've done them before. It's like a lot of work.
It is, but it's all fun. I love doing this. Hi, Maria. So, as you guys know, this is all about discovering your purpose. And what I do is I bring wonderful people, amazing people like Steph, who are actually out there doing something amazing for the world, for people, to help empower people and help them grow in a variety of different ways. So that's why I love bringing on people like her, because you guys are all like bringing it, into the world. And I just love that about you. So I hope that you guys love her as much as I do.
Aww.
We connected right away. We were like kindred spirits. So
we did. Amazing.
Yes.
I loved it. Hey, Veronica. How are you? Hi, Maria Cristina. How are you? All right. I'm ready.
Okay, cool.
I've shared in 3 places.
Excellent. Fabs. So I'm about to share it just one more time on my business page, and then we will get started. Cool.
Hey, Yvonne. How are you, hon? I haven't seen you forever.
Okay.
I hope you're well. I hope the weather's like okay where you're at.
Okay. Woo! Okay, so we're back. All right.
I invited my... No, so...
I'm sorry, you invited who?
My tribe. I was like, hey, everyone, I'm going to be here. Come check me out. So...
Yeah, I have a few folks joining too. All right, cool. So, all right, so let's get started. I'm so excited to talk to you, and I know we've been kind of chatting offline about different things. So, let's see what pops up today. Okay, so today my guest is Stef Ventura, and I said it with a Spanish accent. Thank you very much. She's a female empowerment coach, a business coach, and an energy healer, which props, girl, that specializes in teaching female entrepreneurs how to uncover the deep limiting beliefs and emotional traumas that are holding them back in their businesses so that they can bring themselves into alignment with their clients, opportunities, and financial success they desire. And I just have to say this piece too. I know it's a little lengthier, but I just love what you said here. She firmly believes that anyone, in caps, is capable of creating the life and business of their dreams so long as they're willing to do the inner work required to more deeply love, believe, and trust in themselves, as well as recognizing their divine worth. And you know, I'm all about that because that's exactly what I help people with.
That's it.
Exactly. It's all about working on this so that you can manifest that, right? So that's how it works. So for you guys know, hey,
All the time.
everybody.
Hey, Jackie.
Oh, she said weather's not good. Okay. So as I go along, I'm just going to ask her tons of questions because we all want to know all about Stef. So feel free to ask questions as we go along, and I'll try to answer them as we go. All right. So thank you again for joining the show. I'm so excited to have you here. I can't wait to hear for you to share more about what you do. And so on that note, do you want to give, I know I gave a quick intro, but do you want to say anything or add anything else about why you're so passionate about the work that you do?
So why am I so passionate about this work? Because I really, truly, deeply believe. So I come at it from a spiritual perspective. So based on everything I know from the regular traditional world about how the world works and how we create what we want in life, and science, which explains, you know, that everything is energy and stuff. And based on my spiritual teachings and my own experience, I really firmly believe that we can create the lives that we desire 1000%. And why I'm so passionate about it is because I see people feeling unhappy and miserable and hopeless and sad, and you know, they have so much stress and so much worry, and they're just not really lit up from the inside out. They're not really living the lives that they desire. And I feel like that's a tragedy in a way, that people are not truly happy with themselves, with the life that they've created, with where they're headed in the future. They're actually worried. They feel hopeless about it. And I think that nobody needs to feel that way. Nobody needs to feel, you know, sad and in despair and just like, I don't even know why I'm here. And I've been there. I've been there plenty of times throughout my life. But when you're able to really learn how to get out of your own way, and you're able to really, you know how to master your mindset, know how to master your energy, and how to create with your energy, with your beliefs, and create the life that you want, and become that bolder, more empowered version of yourself that believes in yourself deeply, that truly values who you are deeply, and you start seeing that reflected in the external world, you really start realizing like, wow, I literally have all the power to create what I want. And all it takes is just me working on myself over and over and over again until I see what I want out in the reality. So I really firmly believe that we all have this power to do this. And what makes me passionate is just kind of helping those people who are ready to be helped, who are ready to just, you know, do away with all of the, I don't know, all of that stuff, all of that stuff that keeps them miserable.
All of their
and
junk
just
in the
not
past.
yeah, just like, you know what, I'm done with this. I've been living this way most of my life, and I want something new, and I'm ready to do what it takes, you know? And they're just seriously committed, and like they're ready to show up, because that's the kind of person I am. I'm like, come on, let's get it. You know, I'm like that personal trainer where it's like, you want to come to me to like radically move forward, I will help you radically move forward if you're really truly done with your stuff.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm really passionate about, is like helping people learn how to get out of their own way to create what they want in life.
Absolutely. And then one of the things that you mentioned I found interesting, because I talk to people about this, is it's the stuff that they bring from their past, right? That they think has no reason, right? It's like, oh my God, these things happen to me and blah, blah, victim mentality. But the reality is that every single thing that happens is actually purposeful. And it's your job to find out what that is so that you can use it, right, as fuel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nothing is pure coincidence. And a lot of times the same kinds of drama issues that show up in your past have shown up more than once. They keep showing up because you're not understanding what you're supposed to learn from it, and what you need to shift about yourself and how you handle the situation, what you think about the situation, what you believe about the situation, in order to stop seeing that. So it's going to keep, you know, coming up in your face over and over again until you get it.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah.
Absolutely. So that said, I know you help people, you know, from where they are at now in their journey, but let's talk about your journey. Like, how did you start? What is your history? And like, what basically pushed you to do this work and to help people through that?
Yeah, so we kind of talked a little bit when we connected first, and I was like, girl, you're gonna find out when I do this interview with you my story,
Let's
why
hear
I
it.
really believe in what I do. So I'm from Peru. This is where I live. This is where I was born. But I was living here till I was 4, and then my parents went to the U.S. in search of the American dream. Now, I'm very close to my mother's family. She has a very poor background. You know, they lived in a ghetto neighborhood here in Peru. They struggled a lot. They, didn't really have what they wanted. They would sometimes not eat because they were just so poor. And so I grew up hearing a lot of those stories of their suffering and the struggles and stuff growing up. Now, in the United States, I, became a child of immigrants. And dealing with my father's story as well. And then also my father was very physically abusive towards me, towards my brothers and my mother. And that was very difficult and traumatic. And then I also experienced some sexual trauma growing up. My parents finally separated when I was 13, and my mom became a single mom then, and I was the oldest. And I stepped up to help support her and my brothers, because my dad wasn't showing up financially to help support us. And then so I had to struggle with having to deal with a parent, my mother, who was so overwhelmed and stressed, and unintentionally neglected us, unintentionally was just kind of so, I guess, overwhelmed and frustrated. She was not in the right headspace, and it was a lot of responsibility on me. And then as I continued on at 14, I come to find out, going into freshman year of high school, that I wanted to get my driver's permit because everyone else is doing it. So I go in to find out that, oh, well, I'm not documented in the United States. I'm actually undocumented. And it was a real shock to me, because as a kid, you're not thinking about whether or not you're legally in a country or not. You just are.
Mm-hmm.
And then I come to find out, oh, I'm not here legally. And like, what's going to happen to my future? Because my parents had raised me from a really young age to, go and fulfill their hopes and dreams, their expectations, to really make all of their suffering or all of their sacrifice worth it. And so it was programmed in my mind that the only path to success was going to university, was going to get this college education. And then all of a sudden I find out that's not going to happen for me, at least. And so the carpet had gotten or the rug got swept from right under my feet. And I was just going through a lot of stuff, because I just figured my life is over as a teenager, dramatic. I'm like, my life is over. I have nothing to live. Why am I even here? And I was dealing with problems at home still. And my mother convinced me to stay on, and I graduated at 18, top, 10 of my class, 10% of my class. I was like number 11 or something. And with all of these university invitations, but not being able to take them up on their invitations to scholarships and things like that because of the legal situation. And I was really miserable in the United States, really, really miserable. I couldn't do a lot of basic things that normal people take for granted: traveling, driving legally, working legally, just being able to go to the club with your friends because you don't have an ID, all of this stuff. And I was just so sick of it. And I was so sick of it, but at the same time, I was more afraid of coming back home to Peru, more afraid of that, because I didn't know what to expect. It was a completely foreign country for me. I was still so young. I had never really lived alone. And lived alone in a new country at that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just overwhelming for me to think how am I even going to survive there? And I don't even have university. If university education at the time was especially important in the United States, it was even more important in Peru. And I was like, what's going to happen to me in Peru? But I was so miserable in the United States, but so afraid of taking that next big step, that I was just clinging on to the United States. I'm miserable, but you know what? Being miserable here in the United States is better than being in the unknown. Yeah. It's better than being in the which is where everyone gets caught up. And I manifested a situation in which immigration showed up at my house from one day to the next. And, that's kind of when you're not willing to move forward in life, then the universe or whatever you believe in is going to give you a wake-up call to force you to move forward, because you're just meant to move forward.
Absolutely.
And so was you need to go. And so 9 months later, I found myself back in my home country, starting from zero. I didn't know what to expect. My family here at the time, I wasn't really close to them. I didn't really know them. And I was alone at 20 years old to start over from zero in this foreign country and just, figure it out. And divine intervention made it work so that I found a teaching job as an English teacher, which I never expected, but I did that. I became private teacher. A few years later, I worked for myself. That's when I first got into entrepreneurship. And then along the way, I also did YouTube. So I have a YouTube channel as well, giving people travel advice on Peru. And along the way, I decided to become a coach. I actually became a health coach first because I'm very passionate about healthy food and lifestyle. And I was struggling for a really long time. And after 9 months, I, realized like I need help. I'm done struggling. I need someone to help me because I don't know what I'm doing with this career. And I didn't come all this way for nothing. So I manifested a business coach. She taught me so much about business strategy, all the technical stuff,
Wonderful.
branding, and all that stuff on the outside. And I was doing everything she told me to. I was like committed. Like I'm that kind of person where you tell me what to do and I will show up. But it wasn't getting me results. Yeah, it wasn't getting me results. And that's when I kept going on my journey, and I manifested my next mentor, who brought to my awareness that I had a lot of really deep emotional trauma from my childhood that I needed to address. And I began doing that, and I began understanding what it meant to do deep layers of mindset work. And I just kept doing my best to figure it all out, to work on myself, to heal myself. I'm a healer, so I was figuring out my own healing abilities, and I was just doing my best to go along the way. And as I worked on myself, and as I brought up really deep wounds from my childhood that I wasn't even aware I had, and I was addressing them and finally releasing them, everything around me started shifting. I started, making money at last after struggling for 13 months of making nothing, and literally sitting in front of my computer 10 to 16 hours a day. And I didn't have anything to show for it. And I was finally starting to, bring in money and get those clients and start holding, courses and things successfully. And that's when I really started seeing like, wow, like really every time I work on myself and I have some major breakthrough, it would result in like some kind of sale, someone signing up with me in some way. And I started noticing, I was like, it's not a coincidence. I'm shifting my energy. I'm shifting who I am. I'm releasing all of this heavy stuff. And as a result, my reality shifts with me. And I just kept doing this over and over and over again. And I started really just understanding that's what it is everything is energy. And if I want to shift the reality that I'm experiencing, I got to shift my energy because it starts with me.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's why I truly believe we all have the power to do this. It's just a matter of us really working on ourselves.
Absolutely. I mean, it starts within. Absolutely, 100%. Great. So what was the turning point for you in coaching? Like, how did you decide then, like, what you wanted to do and how you've been through so many different things. I'm sure you can coach on every single aspect of what happened to you in your life. So what made you choose what you inevitably are doing now?
So with as I said, I studied health coaching. And then with my first business coach, I really understood the health coaching thing. For me, it wasn't my true passion. It wasn't, like I loved it. It was an interest. It was something I was like very interested in, but it wasn't like my purpose. It wasn't my purpose. And through her, I understood like I want to empower women. And I thought at the time, I called myself a mindset coach, but for me at the time, mindset was like just inspiring women to start facing their fears and start taking action and start moving forward, because it took a lot for me to build up to that, because for so long, I was such a procrastinator. I was such a self-sabotager. Like I would be like, no, I'm going to go and watch this instead of doing this and so on. And so it took a lot for me to get to that point. So I was like, that's how I want to empower women. But then when I met my next mentor, and I started understanding the power of doing actual, like true deep mindset work and emotional healing work, and I started seeing the results in my reality. That's when I was like, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to help people, because it's so important. And as I went along the way, I niched it down even more and decided I want to help female entrepreneurs, because I see, especially spiritual entrepreneurs, because I see how not having this information, not knowing how to do this held me back. And I see how it holds back other people, and it keeps them from really making so much progress so much more quickly. It's not going to be overnight, ever, but you can get to where you want to get to so much more quickly if you know how to do the work properly. And a lot of times with spiritual entrepreneurs, I feel like they kind of sometimes give their power away to the universe. They're like, well, if it's meant to be, it will be. And no, you can change it if you know how to work on yourself, and the universe will still support you, but it's not being passive about it. It's being more active.
Absolutely. So let me ask you then about mindset coaching for dealing with your past, because I know you've been through quite a few things. How do you think, well, one is how you're working with people now, but what do you think was the key that sort of turned that lock for you in terms of releasing all the junk that you were carrying all those years, right? What made it happen for you?
So I think we go through periods where there's like these huge shifts. And a few years into living in Peru, um, I became very depressed. I was going through a lot of things personally, and I have a lot of energy as a healer, and I didn't know it then. And I started like literally breaking things around me with my energy because I was just in a really bad place emotionally. And I broke my laptop, I broke my phone, and they were like new, basically hardly used. And I was like, what? And I just got into this really, really bad state because I was getting back up on my feet, and then all these things were breaking around me. And I was like, I can never catch a break, universe. Why do you do this to me? Why can I never, ever, ever, just be okay? Like, why did these curveballs keep coming at me? Like, what did I do to deserve this? That victim mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, fair. I try to be a good person and all this stuff. And I just got in a really bad place where I was just literally like ready to take my life because I couldn't handle it anymore. I just figured, at the time, I think I was 24 years old. I'm 29 now. And I was like, if this is what life is, if this is what life is going to be, I don't even want to be here. Like, I'm just done. I don't know how my grandma did it. I don't know how my mom did it, but I know I'm not putting up with this. I'm going. And, I even went so far as to call my mom up and ask her, like, what do you want to know before I kill myself? Like, I'm planning on doing it this way. I was going to take, yeah. And I was like, I need to know what your questions are so that you're not left with questions when I'm gone. And my mom's like, at first she didn't know if I was serious. She was crying. She was trying to tell me not to do anything rash. And I was like, no, Mom, I'm done. I didn't even feel anything at the time. I was just totally shut down. I didn't even care if she was crying. I was like, whatever, I don't care. It's not about you. So,
Oh my
and
gosh.
I just got in this really bad.
If I was your mom, I'd be like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I'm
And
flying
my
over.
friend who's like, oh, that's a complicated story. But my mom, she couldn't do anything about it. And my friend, who was like my guardian angel, I swear the universe put my friend in my path. I ended up going to have lunch with him, and I broke down, I cried, and he shared with me his own stuff, and I realized like just the words that my friend had for me that day made me realize like, you know what? I choose how I want to feel. I choose how my life turns out. I can't lose faith in, like overwhelming myself because I was like such an A type, and I was like, my life has to look this way for me to be perfect and on track, and it just wasn't working out that way. And I was really, really frustrated, and I just felt like, what's the point? So my friend got me back on track, and I was able to just go, you know what, I've experienced what it feels like to be in this really dark place. I never want to be there again. Moving forward, I'm going to do my absolute best to move towards my dreams, to make it happen. And if it takes a little bit longer, so what? I'm just going to find a way to make it happen. And I started moving forward. So how this plays into what I do today is, again, I relate to so many people. This is one of the reasons why I know Oprah one day is going to interview me, because I relate to Latinas. I relate to people who have suffered abuse. I relate to immigrants. I relate to, so many people on so many different scales. And I know the struggle. I know the hardships. I know how bad it feels to be in those situations. But I also know that you can get yourself out of those situations if you know how to work on yourself, if you're willing to, exercise your faith, your trust, to really do what you need to do, commit to yourself, to know, what, life can be better, life can be fun, it can be enjoyable. You can really create the life that you desire, but it starts with you letting go of that victimhood and stop pointing your finger to, why this happened and what that happened and so on. Because if you keep pointing your finger, then you're just going to keep distracted, and you're not going to be able to do what you can to move forward. So if I had sat there and continued to blame the United States government for being so unfair to me and not giving me a chance, even though I was such a good person and I was a good student and a citizen, or if I'm blaming my dad for all of the abuse and stuff, and I know abuse, it's really traumatic, and I teach people how to honor their traumas, whatever traumas they may have experienced. I teach them how to honor, but I teach them how to make peace with it and let it go fully, rather than keep reliving that story and over and over and over again, which keeps people back. And so I teach people that, and I'm like, you can make peace with the past, and you no longer have to let it hold you back in life. So that's how it all came
Yeah.
together.
Well, that was a mouthful, and that was like the epitome of making lemonade out of lemons, right? So amazing. And it's interesting because especially immigrants, I'm an immigrant too, but I became a citizen when I was really young. Thank God, because my mom became a citizen first. So I didn't have to go through the similar struggles as you, but we all had sort of, in some ways, similar histories, like, the poverty mentality, victim mentality. Like there's definitely a few of those that sort of carry through the culture, right? As we come from these foreign countries. So I'm glad that you're doing the work, because I feel like we need more. And especially, I've seen the numbers, and like, honestly, like we're about to, the Latino community is going to overtake every other culture in the next 10 years. So, so it's so
Awesome.
important that we have people that are, sort of, working through this stuff, because otherwise we're going to have ill people, right? Like people who are, running schools, running, in politics, running in businesses that, are still in recovery, so to speak, right? Who haven't really digested their stuff, right? So we definitely need help in those areas, right? So you kind of answered my question. I was going to ask you, like, what were the pivot points, but you've pretty much named them all. So that's great. I'm glad that you mentioned it, because I feel like that's exactly what they needed to hear. And also, like, every one of those steps for you helped you become a better you. So it's like
Yeah.
people struggle with struggles, right? There is such a thing as like low quality problems and high quality problems, right? And so we have to, see how
Yeah.
these things are actually potentially high quality problems that we can actually use to sort of push ourselves through our lives, right? Instead of using it to like bring yourself down, right? So what do you think
For sure.
what do you think your number one value or priority became at the time that you had that major pivot point? And by the way, bless your friend, because we need more angels. We're always surrounded by angels, but we just don't pay attention because we're so, sort of in our junk and blinded by it. But thank God he was there. But what do you think
Yeah.
became your new value after you, digested that and sort of turned that leaf, right?
One of my new, I guess, values after that experience with my friend was really understanding the power of sharing our stories and being vulnerable. Because I think a lot of times we think that we're on our own and nobody understands what we're going through, or we're especially ashamed of sharing our stories. So for many years, I carried so much shame around being undocumented in the US, around being sent back or deported back to Peru, and very few people knew about all of that because I just held so much shame around it. But it was in, like just breaking down, literally breaking down in a beautiful fancy restaurant with my friend and just like pouring my heart out and telling my friend like how overwhelmed I was and what I was thinking of doing and all of this stuff, and my friend breaking down with me and sharing his own life journey, which was at the time for me, I thought like, whoa, here I am complaining about my life and this person has gone through the ringer and they're still here and now they're in a much better place. And but it took him sharing his story with me and letting me know that, it can all turn around. There's always hope. I just got to keep going. I got to keep doing my best to move forward, to not put so much pressure on myself to, expect things to be a certain way and so on. And so that really showed me, like, one of my values was like, you got to share the story, because you never know how the story is going to radically change someone's life, how it's going to radically just give them that piece of hope that they need to just keep putting one foot in front of the other,
Yeah.
and sharing vulnerable, sharing with emotion, sharing with heart. And so my tribe, some of the people on here, hey Sam, some of the people on here who are my tribe, they know me. They've been following me for months now or however long, and they know that I always share the story. I'm always sharing how I'm progressing, how I'm moving forward, because I want them to see through my example that as I said, you can create the life that you desire. It's not going to necessarily happen overnight, but if you keep doing it, it's going to result into something. And seeing my example gives them hope that, you know what, that's possible for me too. I've seen Stephanie grow massively. I can do that too. I just got to get on that inner work stuff. So that's one of my values, is like sharing the story, because I know I wouldn't be here as well, not just because of my friend, but because of the other people that I look up to, very famous motivational speakers who I would listen to their stories when I would be working out, you know, listening to Tony Robbins, Les Brown, Lisa Nichols, all of these amazing people, hearing their stories, hearing their hardships, and really understanding, you know what, having success, having all of that fame, the money, the books, whatever you desire, the interviews, that's all amazing. That's sometimes what we all focus on. And we're like, yeah, I want to be there. I want to have all that stuff. Yeah. But these people who have all of that stuff today had to go through so many struggles, so many things. They had to overcome all of their own self-imposed limitations and stuff to get to where they are. It didn't just drop on their lap. You know, they exercised faith a lot of times. Yeah. They had to develop a lot of resiliency and stuff through really difficult situations all the time. And they just kept going over and over again, because that's the power. That's the beautiful thing, I guess, about the human spirit, is like, you just keep going. Even when it doesn't seem, when the future seems dismal, you just keep going and keep going. And that's how you discover your true strength. So listening to those people's stories and being inspired by them as well really showed me the power of sharing stories. And that's Absolutely. Why I love sharing my to help inspire them and empower them.
Yeah. So first of all, I want to say that you and I have in common that we both have Oprah on our vision board, because we're going to be on her show together. Okay. Yes. I just wanted to say that out loud. Manifesting that with you. So I'm right with you. But I was going to say, as related to what you said, Oprah has people on her show all the time. And most of the time it's talking about the struggles that took them to where they are. Because guess what? Oprah had similar struggles too, right? Like she had her own, you know, bitter cakes, if you will, that she had to eat on her way to stardom, right? And it's not like she was focusing on stardom. She was like focusing on one step at a time, right? It's never like, oh, I'm just going to be a star and I'm just going to be perfect and it's going to be awesome. No, it's going to be the work, right? It's going to be what is the work that you came to bring to this world? What is it that, you know, what was the struggle that you got through? What is it that you're going to use from your personal tool belt of the SHTF that you went through, right? To empower other people to move forward in their lives. So I love that you said that, because that's exactly what we need people to start doing, like using this stuff. And maybe you don't become Oprah, and maybe you don't become, you know, Chris Carr, or, you know, like, it doesn't have to go that far. Yeah. You can have your own version of success. Wait, say it again?
Yeah. I'm not trying to be them. I'm trying to be me, but I'm inspired by them.
Yes.
What they do for other people.
Yes, yes. But what, to your point, you said that people like, you know, oh, I want to be Oprah and I want the success and I want, you know, but don't focus on the success. Focus on the work and the success will come, right? I just posted recently that, you know, what did I say? I said that when you focus on the things that you're authentically passionate about, that you're compensated. I said, follow your truth and you will always be compensated, right? Because your truth is to share your story, to empower people through your storytelling. And that is, in effect, what's going to compensate you, whether you get compensated by money or whether you get compensated by getting that energy back and you know, boosting your self up even more so that you can help more people. That's also compensation, right? And we have a couple comments. Sheila says, Steph, you've been great. And you've come so far. You're a survivor for sure, for true. Thank you guys for. All right. So if anybody has any questions, I saw another question from Sheila earlier. So I feel like I've had a huge energy shift. Can I lose it as fast as it came? Do you want to answer that?
Maybe it's just spirit or something. Maybe it's just spirit or some kind of guide, just like. Sometimes we get like those universal shivers or something when something speaks directly to our soul and we're like, oh, you know, what happens to me all the time. So if you feel something, maybe it's just something is connecting to your soul and you just feel this intense energy or something like that. It's different for everyone, but it could be something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, when you get that energy, milk it for everything that it comes with. Because part of energy is that it's actually something that Sam just said right now. What about the saying, what you focus on grows? When you focus on being in a high energy state, which I talk about a lot, I'm sure you discuss it too with the people that you coach. When you focus on being in a high energy state, which includes diet, includes, you know, inner work, includes energy, you know, self-care, pampering, like all these different things, hanging out with friends, connecting with people, like all those things I consider like part of my way of helping myself and pampering myself. And when you focus on that stuff and you focus on having a quality of life that's that high of a level, you will always get more energy. The more you go, the more you get, right? So Adriana
it's
says,
super important to know.
sorry, what?
But it's super important to know how to manage your energy and how to get yourself in the
Yes,
states that you want. But
absolutely.
it's easier to get to those vibrational states when you clear out the junk.
Yes. Adriana says, I'm so grateful for your story, Steph. It helps me to keep going. I've listened to your story several times because it inspires me to keep going. I'm so grateful you did not give up. Awesome. Yay. Keep doing your work.
Love you, woman.
Okay, so actually you talked a little bit about who's inspired you along in your journey. Are there any, because I know you've mentioned a couple of people in your sort of in the public eye, and I know that your friend obviously inspired you when you were in your dire moments, right? In your dire straits. So who else? Like who else? Because I feel like, you know, so here's my thing, right? Like people tend to go to gurus and leaders, and that's all great and good. But honestly, like it's you that can become your own guru and leader, right? And actually, even if it's not you, it's your inner circle. You can have people that are just your friends or your you know, teachers, like, you know what I mean? What were you gonna say?
Yeah.
I saw your reaction.
Yes, because I'm an empowerment coach. I empower people. I show them that they have the power to create the lives that they want. And it's not to say that there's anything wrong with us admiring phenomenal people who have accomplished major things. Like I'm honored that so many people admire me and they follow me and they're inspired by me, right? But I'm not here to be anyone's guru. I'm not here for people to like put me on a pedestal and think I'm amazing and that I can do things that they can't. It's not that. That's not what I'm trying to promote here. It's like I'm here to teach people like you can do it too. You can be your own freaking god or goddess or whatever it is that you really, really admire. You're like, whoa, like you got to have that vision for yourself and know that it's perfectly possible for you to attain that amazing level of power, of enlightenment, of abundance, of whatever it is that you would really like to create in your life. And so I really love, you know, looking up to people and admiring them and following their work, but I don't look to them to tell me all the answers that I need to move forward, or I don't put them on pedestals anymore. Like I used to in the past. I was totally like on that train, but not anymore. And that's what I try to promote is like, we all have that power within ourselves to know, you know, how to move forward in our lives, what is best for ourselves, and so on. So
I think it's interesting
yes.
because people in our field, they tend to be like junkies when it comes to self-development, right? So, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Because like you end up learning all these things and it's kind of like you get filled up and filled up and filled up. And at the end of the day, you realize, whoa, I can actually like fix myself now. Like I don't need you. I don't need the book. I don't need the seminar. I don't need, right? But there's nothing wrong with having that as a first step, right? That's a first step in the right direction if you don't feel like in yourself yet. Go ahead.
Right, it's a process for sure. Like, you know, yeah, it can be easy to sometimes get addicted on, you know, going to one person's like seminar and just like thinking I need to keep showing up to their seminars and keep learning from them. And there's nothing wrong with that if you're just going to genuinely learn. But if you're going to learn because you think that you don't have the answers already within you, that's where you have to like really do some, you know, self-evaluation right there and be like, wait, what's going on? You know, because we are here to learn from each other. We are here to support each other. But it's when you're constantly running to people to tell you what to do, to tell you how to live your life, to tell you what the next best step is, that you do yourself a disservice over and over and over again. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think Cassandra said she had a question.
Cassandra's asking, how do you stay grounded and clear out the junk on a daily basis? So I have my way, but I'd love to hear what you do.
For me, Yeah.
Go ahead.
For me, I meditate every. I meditate to bring my energy back to me, to really allow myself to concentrate my energy back to me so I can move out throughout the day and stay very focused and clear-headed and be very productive. Because when I don't meditate, I don't ground my energy in meditation, I am very scattered and it's hard for me to focus. So I ground my energy through meditation. I also, on a very regular basis, do a lot of mindset work. So I'll journal a lot about things that are coming up for me that I need to clear out. If something really heavy emotionally is coming up for me, I do journeys. So it's like shamanic journey. So I take myself into a deep meditative state to really work through those issues and clear it. But I'm on a regular basis working on myself to get that stuff out, because a lot of times when you're not really grounded, being grounded a lot of times has to do very much with your root chakra. So the chakra, I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's an energy center at the base of your spine. And people have trouble being very grounded a lot of times because that's one of the places where they hold the most trauma, because that's the first chakra that you develop when you're born. And so that's where the majority of a lot of your traumas around feeling safe, feeling secure, loved, having your needs met, etc., as a helpless baby, when you don't have that stuff provided for you on a regular basis, that those traumas start building up and people become very uncomfortable and they store this trauma in that space. So people who have dealt with a lot of things, they have a lot of drama and they have trouble grounding themselves because they don't feel safe within themselves. So it's a matter of clearing up whatever issues you may have from your childhood around your root chakra, around your first three chakras, actually, to be able to more easily ground in the earth and stay, feeling safe and focused and that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I also meditate, and I do a special meditation to sort of remove the baggage of the day, So whatever version of sort of removing the baggage that works for you, do that, right? Like definitely play around with different ways. Like Steph just mentioned a few. You can meditate. There are different people out there that do different kinds of meditation, but always going within is such a helpful way to unload, right? All that stuff. And then on a physical level, right? For me, because I've done massage therapy, like Epsom salt baths also cleanse energy and they cleanse your muscles, right? So things that help you physiologically, I have a body roller in my home, right? Things that help you sort of undo the emotional junk that has gotten stuck in your body throughout the day, right? So things like that help too.
Yeah.
So what is one or a couple of major patterns or beliefs that you've noticed that limit people from pursuing their passion?
A lot of them. But it's fear of ridicule or judgments. People are so afraid of what people will think, will say. Especially if you're a spiritual entrepreneur, you don't want to a lot of times come out as a spiritual entrepreneur, because you're going to, especially with your friends on Facebook, you're like, oh my God, but that's like people from my past and they don't know me as that person. And what are they going to say and all this stuff. So fear of judgment is a huge one for a lot of people.
Yep.
And then there's, a lack of self-belief. People don't think that they can succeed in building their dreams. So they're just like, why even bother? There's no point. They become very apathetic. They convince themselves that they don't care, but they really do care. They just shut down their emotions so that they don't feel that pang of potential failure. So they don't believe in themselves, right? There is that fear of failure, which is big for everyone. It's one of the first ones. Nobody likes failing. Nobody likes experiencing the failures. Especially when you're like, okay, I'm going to tell everyone what I'm doing. And then it doesn't work out sometimes the first time around. And then you get another bright idea and you want to try again. But then you're like, oh, but I already, failed the first time. And like, should I share it with people? They've been following my journey and like, I'm going to seem like such a loser and stuff. What if I fail again? So fear of failure is something that holds people back a lot of times, whether it's your first business or it's your second or third or fourth time at business. People don't like failing. It's very uncomfortable. And that holds people from moving forward. And there is, lack of trust in oneself, I think. Lack of trust in knowing that you have all the things within you to be able to succeed, but people don't trust themselves, right? Then there's lack of clarity. People don't have that clarity sometimes, and they keep themselves confused, thinking like, I want more in life, but I don't know what I want to do. and then they don't take action steps, like big action steps, to help them gain that clarity that they need. And so they're spinning their wheels, feeling frustrated, like, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do. And it's not that you don't know what to do. A lot of times it can be subconscious resistance in your ego keeping you occupied and confused or whatever with other things, so that you're not able to gain that clarity. Yep. So there's a lot of things that hold people back, I think, from moving forward in their dreams. It's unique to every person.
Yeah, if anyone has questions about that, that's a big deal for a lot of people. Lack of clarity, also disbelief, right? No belief in themselves. Yep, totally agree. So when the shit hits the fan in your life, my friend, how do you continue to move on now? Because I know it's happened quite a few times and we've all had it happen. So what do you do? What's your go-to to be able to sort of get through it, right? And what do you recommend people do?
That's a really great question. I have had that happen to me over and over and over again, especially as an entrepreneur.
Yes.
And it's been thanks to all of the difficult situations in my personal life and that really, dark place where I got myself to, that reminded me to like keep going even when I wanted to like quit so many times in entrepreneurship. Because again, I struggled for 13 months to make money, people. Like, it was hard. And then I still invested in a coach during that time, not having any money, not having steady income. And it was really hard. And I went through so many difficult things. And so, yeah, throughout my journey, I wanted to like quit. I was like, what am I doing here? I'm not going to be able to serve humanity the way I want to, I feel called to, and all of this stuff. So what has helped me is literally, and I think this is happening for quite a few people maybe right now because of the energy right now, is, sometimes you need to have a breakdown to have a breakthrough, as they say. So sometimes you need to create your own personal hell and be in a really, really bad situation to finally regain your strength, regain your determination, pick yourself up by your bootstraps, and just plow forward, right? So there have been many times where I wanted to quit. I didn't think I was, making any progress. I was like, universe, why have you forsaken me? You leave me here, But, I would like cry it out, journal it out, get it out of my system, and then release it. But I would process it, and then decide, all right, I'm done with this. I'm moving forward. Nothing's going to stop me. So that's what's helped me over and over again. Because again, as a healer, and for many of you that might be interested in healing work and stuff, I see healers all the time heal themselves from issues for years and years and years and years, and 2 decades will go by and they're still thinking something's wrong with them, and they're still having the same kinds of struggles. And they might be very talented, skilled healers that help other people. But when it comes to their own lives, sometimes they have trouble breaking free from their own victimhood, and they just don't know how to get on with it. So what's helped me is like, when I've had really difficult situations come up for me, I allow myself to feel my emotions. I embrace them. I get pissed off if I want to. I get really sad. I get depressed. I give myself the space, like a day, to just really go through whatever it is, journal it out and everything. And then I literally like take my butt to sleep, and I set the intention. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to carry this on tomorrow. Like, I'm going to move forward no matter what. I'm a person that thrives in life, and so on. So that's what's helped me, because again, if you give yourself the space to process that stuff, it shouldn't keep coming up for you. It shouldn't. So
yeah, and I agree with you. I think it's a lot of it's a lot of the resistance that we have. And I just want to say this because this has come up over and over, because it came up for me, and I'm sure it came up for you. Because when you are a healer or a coach or, a teacher, all these things, I think it's something that's sort of built into this program, right? That we have to be perfect. And so once you become this person, you're like, oh my God, I can't make any mistakes. They can't see me cry. They can't see me break down. They can't see me mad. Like, they can't see me be angry. I can't yell, right? So it's like this super common misconception that like you have to be perfect, but it's actually the contrary. You have to teach people how to break down in a healthy way, right? You have to teach them how to cry when they need to, break down when they have to, and just let it out. Just like you said, journal, do whatever it takes in order to process, because that's exactly it. You have to process your junk. And everybody has it. Just because I know some things that you might not know doesn't mean I don't have my junk, right?
Yeah, we all have inner stuff. Even really skilled coaches or healers or whoever that you admire, we're all human. We all have our stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's just that the more you're able to just get your stuff, the easier it gets. And you know, you just are like, yeah, that's my stuff. Whatever, I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to move on. And that's it. It doesn't hold me back. But when you're still early on in your journey and you still have a lot of, you know, things that you still need to heal from, you're still very much vulnerable and sensitive. And it's still a very, very big deal to you. You're very attached to it. So you still have to process it. But for me now at this point, if like I happen to, you know, kind of with the psychic, and a psychic's like, oh, you have these issues, you know, they give me guidance. And they're like, you have these issues to work through. I'm like, perfect, thank you. I'll address that. And I move on. I don't take that and be like, oh my God, I've been working on these issues. I can never get over them. Like, I'm like, okay, just move on.
Absolutely. So now that, you know, you've done all this inner work, which by the way, it doesn't end, you know, you just get higher quality problems. That's all. More stuff comes up that you basically have to learn about, right? So, or learn how to get through. So what have you done to master yourself and master your craft? What have you learned?
Practice. Practice, practice, practice. I have had to do countless hours of inner work, hours and hours and hours. That's why I was able to radically shift my life and my business from one year to the next, is because, you know, half the time I was working on my business and half the time I was working on myself. And I was literally like, because I was doing this full time, and I was like, I got to get all of this junk out because I got people I have to like impact, lives I got to touch with my work. And like, I'm not playing games. I'm trying to get there as quickly as possible. So I am committed to doing all this journaling that I need to do, all the journeying I need to do, whatever I need to do to move forward. So I just kept doing it to where it just came second nature to me, where I don't have to like think about like what process do I need to do or so on. I'm just like, I intuitively go with whatever I'm meant to do, however I'm meant to process the situation that I'm going through, belief or whatever. And it's just, I get through it very quickly now. So what used to take me, you know, 4, 5, 6 pages of journaling to process now only takes me like a page at the most, maybe 2 pages, or sometimes even half a page. I'm like, okay, perfect, I'm done. I'm moving forward, you know? So it's just been practice, practice, practice.
That's awesome. This brings to mind something that Brene Brown talked about. She talks about the comfort list. And that's more with regard to the things that you sort of want to bring into your life when you're in those moments, right? Like, okay, well, if I love to dance, then let me dance so that I can express myself and sort of loosen up and whatever. So there's different things that you can do. You can watch a movie, you can go hang out with someone, you can like pet your cat, right? Like all these different things. But the same probably applies to when you're releasing stuff. Like find your you know, processing list, if you will. The ones that you feel that work for you, that you're most inclined to allow you to release the most, right? So whether it's journaling, maybe a hot bath and singing your heart out. I love karaoke, so I'm karaoke. That's like my go-to most often. So whatever it kind of takes for you, right?
Yeah, everyone's unique, everyone's different, and it depends on what's coming up for you and how you want to break free from that, how you want to snap yourself out of that, right? So again, absolutely. Dancing, going for a walk in the park, whatever it is that you feel like you want to do. So I do that stuff too, you know. Sometimes like I've done so much inner work that sometimes it's just a matter of switching things up for me. I don't even have to like dig so much into beliefs. I just have to shift my energy by doing something like singing like a crazy person or whatever, right? So yeah.
Or dancing like a crazy person, like I do. All right. So tell us a little bit about your practice. So tell us about your practice and how you work and how people can work with you. Like what do you offer in terms of coaching and how you can help people with their breakthroughs?
Yeah, so I have 3 coaching programs. One is Awaken Divine Creatrix. That's for you if you have a lot of deep emotional wounds, if you have a lot of personal things from your life that you really need to overcome, and you need to have the spiritual knowledge that you need to be able to see your past situations from a different perspective. to be able to be more emotionally empowered. So I teach that program over 12 weeks privately to people, and I do, it's a combination of spiritual teachings and then private sessions to help you really integrate the teaching so you're able to apply that in your life. And then moving forward, you're no longer as triggered as you used to be. You're not continuously living in the past. You have a better control over your emotions. You're a lot more empowered with the situations that come to you moving forward. So you're not like so emotionally attached. You're like, oh my God, why is this happening to me? No, you're really understanding like the lessons behind it, how to work through it, how to clear certain situations that keep showing up in your life over and over again that you're just tired of dealing with, and they keep showing up because you're just not understanding the lessons. So I help you see the lessons to break free from that, to really take control of your life and start living consciously, much more consciously than ever. So that's that program. I have a business program that I'm starting this month. It's called Empowered Divine Creatrix, and that's where I teach you over a period of 3 months all of the lessons and things that I basically had to learn in my second year of business, which radically propelled me forward in my own life and business. So you can get yourself unstuck, so you can move forward powerfully and literally shift your energy and become like an energy master manipulator, to know how to bend the reality that you live in to your will. So that's what I teach you in that program. It starts this month. And then I have a VIP coaching program where I work with you for 6 months to support you in so many different levels that you need. So that's how I help people directly. And then I have a number of courses depending on where you're at in your life. If you're just starting out in personal development, if you're a little bit further down the road, I have a number of courses on my website that you can take to work on yourself. They're self-study courses. And I have a private Facebook group, and it's Divine Creatrix, Trix at the end. And it's over 850 members. I think it's like 870 or something. And it's a very highly engaged, supportive sisterhood tribe. We have a few guys in there as well who are very open to spiritual teachings, who are open to supporting the sisterhood. And that's where I have my tribe there, and I support them on a regular basis with a bunch of teachings and stuff. There's numbers, like hours and hours of free resources there for you to gain a greater understanding of spirituality and different things around business and so on. So that's how I support people.
Awesome. I love the work that you do. Awesome. Sheila agrees. She says, highly recommend Steph. She's awesome. Okay, so I think you already started, you started talking about where you are. So you can find her at stefventura.com/empowered-divine-creatrix. Don't worry, I will post all of this on the video so that you guys can see it. You can also find her on her Facebook page, Stef Ventura Coaching, and her group, Divine Creatrix. On Instagram as Stef Ventura Coaching, on YouTube as the same name, Stef Ventura Coaching, and LinkedIn. So I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If there's anyone that has questions, speak now. I really enjoyed talking to you, Steph. Oh, you're so awesome. I love the work that you do, and I love that you talk so deeply about your story, because people need to hear that. People need to hear the, and not to say that you always have to go through sufferings, right, to get to where you want to get, but you do have to process the stuff that you go through, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So at whatever level.
My tribe's like, I love you guys.
Sam loves it. Adriana loves it. Awesome. Awesome. If anyone has any questions, let me know. Let me know. Some people have to catch the replay. We're at the end of the hour. Thank you guys so much for participating and asking questions. I really appreciate you guys joining. Honestly, part of this work is when you guys join, it also helps you, because just even hearing people talk about this stuff is inspiring, right? This is why I do this, because just hearing it is sort of like a step in the direction of where you want to go. Yes, Jacqueline, she is amazing.
For sure.
So
tribe, like, for anyone. Oh, sorry. Can I interject?
Yeah.
For anyone that's watching this, if you feel like gain a lot of value from listening to this interview, from listening to my story, like, share it with them, because it might be exactly what they need to hear to help them shift out of their own victimhood, to help them reclaim their power in creating what they want in life. So, if it's possible for someone like me, who had to go through all of these struggles with, dealing with abuse and single parenthood with my mom, and, getting deported and starting from zero, and then still being a successful YouTuber, still being a successful entrepreneur 3 times, in 3 different ways, and having an online coaching business, and still making it from a third world country where people don't expect someone like me to succeed. If someone like me can do it, then anyone can do it. You know, I'm just showing you what's possible for you. So if you feel like someone can benefit from this, please do share this video, you know, because it might be exactly what they need to give them hope to be able to create a better life for themselves.
So first of all, I'm so honored that you joined us and so grateful that you didn't allow your struggles to get the better of you, because we are the better for it. So thank you so much. And I honor your struggle and I honor your passion, because we need to do that in order to bring this message out and help more people realize that it's all inside here, right? It's all within. So thank you so much for joining. Thank you guys as well. Last question. Any final thoughts you want to leave the audience with?
Any final thoughts?
No pressure.
No. I don't know what your spiritual beliefs may be, whoever is watching this. I know my tribe is very much on the spiritual path, but regardless of what your spiritual beliefs may be, you are a beautiful, divine being. You're truly loved. You're truly supported. You're truly appreciated. You're not on this journey alone. There are many energies around you supporting you. There are people supporting you. The fact that you're watching this video, you were guided to this video is because you were meant to hear this video for some reason, and that's the divine working through us to help support you on your journey. So please know that as we're on here, also doing our best to show up to the greatest of our capacity, because we have our own personal problems too, but we're always doing our best to be the best leaders that we can to show you it's possible for you. So just know that you're not in this, you know, journey or on this journey alone. There are many people supporting you in some way, whether it's through a book that you read, a video that you watch, an interview that you watch, and so on, a coach that you work with. So you're not doing this alone, and please know that you're truly loved, that you truly deserve everything that you desire. And it's just a matter of you believing in that enough and doing your absolute best to just put one foot in front of the other. And sometimes it feels really hard. It feels like you're running a marathon and you can't even continue to walk to the finish line anymore because you're so tired. But I swear to you, you just focus on 1 foot at a time, 1 foot at a time. You're going to get there eventually. And you're going to look back on maybe this moment right now where you're at in your life and you think you're not happy with where you are. Everything seems to be out of your control and you don't understand it. You might look back on this moment and be like, wow, I'm so glad I just kept putting 1 foot in front of the other, because now I look back on that and it's just, I'm happy with where I'm at today. So please don't give up hope. Believe in yourself. You're loved and supported. Reach out to groups online where you feel at home, that you can get support. Get a mentor. Do whatever you can to receive that support that you need to just keep going. That's what I want to share.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Yes, get a mentor. You know, mentors get mentors too. Don't think that we're alone, that you guys are alone, right?
I wouldn't be here if it hadn't been for my coach. I'm telling you.
And we've had several, because we do the self-development stuff all the time. So, you know. All right. Well, thank you so much again. Love you, Stephanie, and love you guys for joining us and for, you know, allowing us to be part of your journey if you're listening in. This is Teany Hidalgo with Stef Ventura from Sanese Wellness, with the Purpose with Passion video series, encouraging you to discover your passions because it will lead you to your purpose. I will see you guys next Thursday, and I will talk to you soon, lady.
All right. Bye, hon. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.